In a distant village nestled between great rolling hills and wide rivers, there lived a prosperous man named Obadele. His wealth was unmatched in the village, and his compound was the envy of all. His barns overflowed with yams, his wives wore the finest wrappers, and his livestock roamed freely across the vast lands he owned. Obadele had two wives, Moriah, the first wife, dignified and wise, and Adesua, the second wife, youthful and full of vibrant energy. They lived together harmoniously, bound not just by the marriage to Obadele, but by genuine respect and sisterhood. Long before Obadele's rise to wealth and status, there was one constant in his life, his loyal houseboy, Kunle. Kunle had served Obadele since he was a maid trader with nothing but dreams in his eyes. Through hardships and glory, Kunle stood by his side. So trusted was he that Obadele took Kunle everywhere, market meetings, even distant festivals. To many, Kunle was not a servant but a shadow of Obadele himself. But as the years rolled on and Obadele riches grew, so too the darkness in his heart. One afternoon, Kunle burst into the compound, his feet covered in dust, his face pale with fear. He found Moriah and Adesua weaving baskets under the shade of the Odala tree. "Madams," Kunle panted, bowing quickly, "I must speak urgently." The wives, startled, paused their work. Moriah raised an eyebrow, sensing the urgency in Kunle's voice. "What is it, Kunle?" she asked. Kunle lowered his voice to a whisper. "I overheard Master speaking with a strange herbalist today. He has acquired a special stool. They say, whoever sits on it will be used for ritual. Their spirit will be taken, and in exchange, he will receive greater wealth." The wives gasped, their hands flying to their mouths in horror. "But why would you tell us this?" Adesua asked, her voice trembling with suspicion. Kunle looked at them, his eyes earnest. "Because you have both been kind to me. You treat me like a brother, not a servant. I could not let this evil happen to you." Tears welled up in Adesua's eyes, but Moriah remained calm. "We believe you, Kunle," she said softly, "but we must be wise. We must have proof." Kunle nodded. "You will have your proof, madams. Just watch. When Master brings the stool, remember what I have said." Without waiting for a reply, Kunle turned and disappeared into the dusty path leading out of the compound. Hours later, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky orange, the heavy gates of the compound creaked open. Obadele strolled in proudly, carrying something wrapped in rich crimson cloth. His two wives watched silently from the veranda. "My beautiful wives," he called out, his voice booming with false warmth. "Today, I have brought you a gift, a stool carved by the finest craftsmen in the distant town of Ibadan." The wives exchanged a brief, knowing glance, but quickly masked their emotions. Come, Obadele urged. "I want you both to try it. It is made for queens like you." He unwrapped the stool, revealing a beautifully polished small wooden stool. Its surface gleamed, and intricate patterns of lions and serpents danced along its legs. Obadele turned to Moriah, senior wife. "Please honor us by sitting first." Moriah smiled sweetly but shook her head. No, my husband. It is only right that Adesua, the younger wife, tries it first and insists." Adesua, catching on, laughed lightly. I could never disrespect Moriah like that. She is the senior. She must sit first." And so began the back and forth. Both wives playfully pushed the responsibility onto the other, their voices light, but their hearts pounding fiercely. Obadele's patience one thing. Enough of this. It's just a stool. See, I will even demonstrate how to sit. He moves toward the stool, half bending as if to demonstrate. In that moment, Moriah and Adesua exchanged a final subtle nod. Together with all their might, they pushed Obadele towards the stool. Caught off guard, Obadele fell heavily onto it. For a split second, there was silence. Then the stool gave a strange hum, and Obadele's body jerked violently. His mouth opened to scream, but no sound came out. Before the stunned eyes of his wives, Obadele's body shimmered and collapsed into a pile of sparkling coins, gold, silver, and cowries scattered across the floor. The two wives stared at the shimmering heap, their hearts racing. Kule appeared at the entrance breathless. It happened. The women nodded wordlessly. Without delay, they swept the coins into baskets and hurried them into the storeroom. As they walked, they agreed on a story. Obadele had traveled on urgent business to a faraway town. That night, under the cover of darkness, Moriah, Adesua, and Kule sat by the hearth, their minds swirling with the shock of the day's event. But fate had more surprises in store for them. The next morning, the entire village buzzed with rumors. Obadele has traveled. Why, without telling the chief? How could he leave his wives so suddenly? But the two wives maintained their story with perfect calm. Yes, Moriah would say, it was a sudden call. He left in the middle of the night. Business matters, Adesua added with a sad smile. Days turned into weeks. No word came from Obadele. Of course, villagers grew curious, but respectful of the man's stature. Meanwhile, within the compound, life changed drastically. Moriah, Adesua, and Kule sat together and made decisions. They chose to use the wealth wisely, building businesses, helping the poor, and strengthening the community. They donated generously to the village, repairing the crumbling schoolhouse and refurbishing the market square. The people loved them for it. No one dared question them again. Yet, inside their hearts, the truth weighed heavily. They often wondered if Obadele had truly intended evil or if he had been pushed by greed and bad counsel. In their prayers, they asked the ancestors for forgiveness, for themselves and for Obadele. Years passed and the story of Obadele became a village legend. Some said he had become a spirit, wandering the forest. Others said he had turned into a guardian, protecting the wealth he had left behind. But for Moriah, Adesua, and Kule, life blossomed in ways they had never imagined. They lived not in fear, but in gratitude, for truth, for loyalty, and for the second chance the gods has given them. And they buried it deep in the earth, never to be seen again.